Hi, in the previous video we have seen like how to use that Dash pages to create multi-page application in Dash, right? And also we discussed like this particular feature is available from Dash 2.5 onwards. Now if we just recap what we did there, so we basically created this pages folder, and inside that we are basically storing our pages, and whatever Python file we are storing it over there. So we are having this dash.register page to register that particular file as page, and then we can also give the path over here as well, right? Now, so this is the one like for our home page, for our fundamentals page, like how neural network learns page, and as well as the showcase page, we have implemented the similar stuff over there, right? Now see it over here. Now instead of showcase, let's say user is going to some unknown page, right? So by default the dash pages give you this 404 messages over there. Okay, now if you remember, like when we discussed about the other way of creating multi-pages app, right? So over there we had to create that 404 page content separately based on that URL over there, right? So now you may want to modify this content over here. Like this is the default one, it will always show if user is going to some URL which is not defined, basically the page which is not defined in our app. So now to override this one, so let us try to discuss it today, like how we can override this stuff over here. Now if we just go back to the Dash documentation, we'll try to follow the main stuff, then we will create our own page. So probably we'll try to create a page something like this one today. We'll have a big image shown up 404, and there will be a link over here which you can click, basically a button over here which you can click to go back to your home page. Okay, so this we will try to achieve it today. Now to do that, we need to know first how to create that custom 404 page and the other stuff, right? So we will go step by step. So to create a custom 404 page, what you need to do is you need to basically create a file called notfound404.py. okay, so let us do that one, and you have to create this one in your pages directory because it will be a separate page, right? So in my pages directory, what I'll do is I will just create a new file. I'll give it a name. Now this particular file will have, if I just go back to the documentation, so as this is a separate page because user, so basically it will show some content over there, right? So that means we need the dash register page over there. So we'll just copy this one. So now we need to fix the import related issues there, right? So I'll just copy these two lines from dash import HTML as well as import dash over here, which will fix this guy over here, right? And just like the other pages, so we can have our own layout as well over there, right? So we will try to modify this layout to show our content over there, right? So at least let us first experiment with this one, then we will see this. So now at least if this line is coming up, then at least this code is working fine, then we will modify accordingly this one. Okay, so as you remember from the previous video, like whenever you are creating a page, it needs to have a variable called layout or a function called layout which will return the layout of that page, right? So that is the same stuff we are doing it over here as well. So we will just click on save, and now if we go to the model page, if you see it, like our custom content, that particular line is coming up over here. So that means dash is actually invoking that particular Python file over here, right? So now let us try to work on the content over here. Now for that, what I did is I actually downloaded an image here 404. Now you can have any content over there. I'm just trying to keep it simple so that we can at least get an idea of how to do it. Now this is a big image and I want to show it to full screen over here, right? So that means what I'll do first is we will create a div over here. So first of all, our image needs to be put inside this assets folder, right? So if you remember when we worked on that navigation screen, right? So that navigation code, if I just go back here, right? So in our navigation bar, we have displayed this particular image over there, right? So that particular image we stored inside our assets folder. So by default, if you store your image files, your CSS files, your JS file inside this assets folder, Dash will automatically serve them. Okay, so we will do the similar stuff. We will basically store this particular image as well from in the assets folder. Okay, I'll just copy the image. So I have pasted the image over here. As you can see, I have just given the name as 404.jpg over here. Now this image I need to show and that at the full screen, like it should be. So the what will happen is, what I'll do is I will just create a div first. Okay, so html dot div here. Okay, so this div will have children's. We will see what we can put it over there. Okay, and okay, now the image should be displayed on the full div, right? If you see it here, this is what we wanted to achieve it over here. The image should be at the full div over here, and that should be in the full screen as well. So what I'll do is we will use some CSS to achieve this one. Now if you are not sure about what CSS to use, you can search in Google like how to display full screen images, and you may find these things as well. Very simple example of how to display full page background images over there, something like this one over here in the W3 school, right? So they have given a sample CSS as well over here, so we can use the similar CSS in our code as well. But the thing is that CSS, either you can mention, so if I just show it over here, so for each and every div there is a style option, style, right? So here you can give those CSS as an embedded style, but you have to remember like it needs to be in the dash format. Okay, or what you can do is you can give some class name over here. Okay, some class name. Let's say here, if you see in the W3 school, they have used BG as a class name. If I just see the code over here, so the div class is they have given BG, and then based on that class name they have set some CSS properties over here. Like this is nothing but they have given a background image, then the height, width, and then the position, whether the background image will be repeating or not, and the size, background size is covered. Pretty simple styles. So we can use this one as well, but only thing is that to use a CSS file in your assets folder, you can create a CSS file. So let's say I'll just give it a file name called styles.css. So we will know this one as well, like how to use custom CSS in your Dash application. Okay, and first of all here I'll just give a class name. We'll give a similar class name BG over here. Okay, we will save it. Now inside the style.css, what I'll do is I'll just copy this stuff over here for BG. Okay, so as we discussed, this is very simple stuff. So this is fine. Now for our background image, we can just give this image over here. So this will be something like, if I just remove this one, so it should be assets / 404.jpg over here, right? So this is our image path over here, and height I'll just give 100 vertical height and VH, and similarly I'll just give width as well over here. So width 100 WH over here. So this will basically have the height and width, and rest of the stuff I can keep as is because this is needed as well. So I think if we go to our any page which is not present here, so let's say model page, ideally that particular image should show up as a full screen over here. Okay, as you can see it over here. Now the job is to add a button over here, right? So our div is having this, but basically the div itself is containing this particular image over here, right? Now in the div children we can add anything over here. So in the children we will just add a DBC button, let's say bootstrap button over here. So I'll just import the dash bootstrap component, and if you just go to bootstrap documentation, that dash bootstrap component documentation, and search for a code for button, you will get a button. We have created button as well before, right? So I'll just copy that code. So if you see it, like I have just created a button with this particular text will be show up on that button. Go back to home. Size I have given large. Okay, so if you go to bootstrap documentation, you will easily find this particular code over here. Like I have copied it from there itself. Okay, and you can give some ID name over here and the href, right? Like upon clicking on that particular button, which link it should go. So currently it will go to our home page over here, right? So once I save this one, so now it should have a button somewhere over here, but the button is showing up over here because we do not have positioned it using our CSS, right? So what I'll do is, again we will go back to our style.css and style that particular button. We will just do like absolute positioning of that button so that it will position itself in the center of the bottom portion of the screen. So the ID of the button we have given it as this one, right? So if I just copy the style over here, if you see we have just, it's a very simple CSS as well. Like position is absolute, margin left 50 pixel, left 50%, and bottom 50 pixel as well. I have given so that it will not absolutely touch the button, it will be somewhere up from the button. So if I just save it over here, so based on that CSS, that particular button will be positioned itself over here, right? So if you just reduce this bottom pixels, it will be further going down at the bottom of the screen over here. So you can play around with this one as well if you like. So we have created this particular page, we have created this particular button as well. So if I click on this one now, because of that href property I have given it over here, so it will basically take me back to this home page of this button over here, so home page of this particular app over here, right? So if I just again go back to this model page, again we will get 404 error over here. Okay, now there could be a lot of ways you can implement this particular page. I just try to be very simple so that we can get the idea over here. Okay, so hopefully we got a fair idea about how to develop custom 404 pages in dash using the dash pages. Okay, so now if you see it over here, if we go to any page like the home page or the fundamentals page over here, right? So this thing like that, the title, the image itself still showing the plotly image over here, as well as this title is having some, it is basically taking from this URL name itself, path itself, right? So if we want to change this stuff, how to do it? Even like if we go to our model page, like which does not exist, it is something like not found 404. Can we change this stuff over here? The title, the image, it is showing up over here in dash pages. Okay, so we will do that stuff in the next video. So hopefully this video was helpful. See you in the next video.